Hello everyone, my name is Vaibhav Puranik and today I'm going to talk about very important thing in multifamily syndications, and the topic is distributions. So let's understand what distributions are, how frequently they come, and what you as an investor should know about distributions. Okay, so let's say you've participated in a syndication, right? And everybody's talking about distribution, or the general partner is using the word distribution. What does it exactly mean? The word distribution essentially means money coming to you. When you participate in a syndication, you give your money as an investment. Now, after the property is acquired, from whatever is cash flow of the property, the money starts coming to you, maybe every month, every quarter, or sometimes every year if the property is smaller, right? So this money coming to you is called distribution. Now, money can come to you as a cash flow, right? Just like monthly, quarterly, or annually, or money can come to you at the end or at a capital event. Capital event meaning if they refinance the property and they give you bulk of money back, and that's also a distribution. Or if they sell the property and then again bunch of money comes back to you, that is also a distribution. So any money coming to you is distribution. Okay. Now, how does it come to you, right? How do they give that exactly to you? So nowadays nobody sends a check, right? So they use, most syndicators or most general partners use sophisticated softwares like one of the popular software is Syndication Pro, or another popular software is Invest Next, right? What all these software do, they do all sorts of calculations, and they have a way for you to put in, or investors to put in, their ACH information, their bank information, and then the money, all the general partners do it, they press a button, and when they press a button, the money gets transferred to you, right? So that's how it actually comes. Now, if you are participating in a smaller syndication, a smaller property, let's say smaller than $5 million property, then they might just use some sort of payment transfer software, just like MailioPay or some other ACH transfer, essentially bank to bank transfer, right? But and then if you want calculations, they'll simply send you a spreadsheet. So that's a manual way of doing in a smaller syndications. Now, there are some very important points about distributions that you as an investor need to know. So let's talk about what are those points that you need to know. Number one is that distributions are not guaranteed. That doesn't mean that distributions will always come at the frequency that have been specified. So even if the PPM specified that we intend to give quarterly distributions or whatever, monthly distributions or annual distribution, it is possible that they can be skipped for 1 year, or they can be skipped for a few months when things go a little bit wrong. They don't have to go massively wrong, right? But it's a cash preservation tactic, right? So you just want, the general partners just want to hold more cash with them to be safe, right? So in that case, they might skip few distributions. Sometimes what happens is the property needs to be sold and a big expense comes. Okay, I'm going to paint the building, whole building. Now that's a good thing, right? So they withhold more cash to do things like that, right? Or they choose to renovate an apartment, right? An extra apartment out of the plan. Then they might withhold some of this extra cash. And when you withhold extra cash, that means you give out less cash to your investors. That's what it is, right? So every time the distribution gets skipped doesn't mean there's a problem. Please understand that. Okay, so you have to basically ask them why are you withholding cash, and then if you have a satisfactory explanation, then there is no issue. Right. Second thing is timing. Now let's talk about timing, right? So general frequency is, it really depends on the size, right? The smaller properties give it annual, then bigger properties give it quarterly. Most popular thing is quarterly, right? And then some syndicators choose to give it even monthly, right? But I actually don't know anybody who gives monthly. Most people give quarterly or annually. Right? Sometimes their timing is pre-specified, and they basically say that, oh, first year no distributions, we will start distributions after second year. Now this happens in case of when a property needs to be stabilized, right? If the property has too much vacancy, it's not performing properly, and you acquire property in that stage, right? Then it might take a year for the property to stabilize. So then the syndicator or the general partner will upfront tell you that we will not give any distributions for first year, right? So stabilization is another important factor. Timing depends upon. Another thing about timing is that let's talk about the final distribution, right? Which is after sale, right? Please understand that final distribution, it may take months. I'm not kidding, months for you to get your final amount. And there are various reasons for it. First of all, these general partners have to do a lot of calculations and finalize a lot of things, right? They have to pay the pending invoices. They have to close out operating accounts. They have to reconcile the closing costs. They have to get the CPA blessing. They have to get the lender releases. So there's just a lot of things going on there, right? So it might take literally few months for you to get final distribution. Also, I've seen some general partners giving you the remaining capital in one distribution and then profit in another distribution. It just increases clarity for investors. Like, so some syndicators do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just that it's going to come in two different batches. That's all it is. It means. Another thing you should know about is accrued distributions. Sometimes some syndications have, or a lot of syndications have preferred returns, right? So they say 8% preferred returns, and the distribution that you have been giving so far is only 4 or 5%, let's say. So the rest 4% is remaining. It's accrued, right? That means when the company, the property gets sold, they're going to give you that 4% first, then they're going to give you the rest of the capital back, and then going to give you everything back, profit back. So those are accrued distributions. They get accrued. So they're not going anywhere. They just get paid later. That's all I'm saying. Now, distributions do depend on investment class. Please understand that, okay? So there are some, there's a hierarchy in which these investors get paid, and the preferred class gets paid, preferred equity gets paid before other investors, the normal common equity investors. So if you are a part of the common equity, you may not get paid first. The preferred equity will get first. And if there is not enough money, then preferred equity will still get paid first, and whatever is remaining is for you. So please understand that distributions depend upon your class of investment. Common equity gets paid later, but they also have more upside, whereas preferred equity gets paid earlier, but they have less upside. So that is a whole big topic. We can address that sometime later in some other video, right? And the last but not least is, just because distributions are coming doesn't mean everything is going right. And just because distributions are stopped doesn't mean that everything is wrong. In general, if you are getting distributions over a long period of time and they're growing steadily, that does indicate that something is going right, okay? But please understand that distributions can be given from reserves as well, right? So that means just because distributions coming doesn't mean everything is right, right? And just because distributions are stopped doesn't mean everything is wrong, because they could have, as I told you earlier, they could have withhold that those distributions just to carry out a renovation, right? Or just to preserve cash or something, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So that's why what you really need to do is pay attention to the updates that you are getting from your general partners or syndicators, and that will tell you the story, right? And in that communication, they should also make it clear that why are they withholding distributions, or even though if they are doing distributions, how is the situation? All of that should be made clear. If that's not clear to you, just pick up a phone and talk to people, right? Nobody's preventing you from doing that. Getting more information is always good for you, right? Thank you very much listening to me. We have a lot of interesting information on our website, oldmoneycapital.com. Our Instagram handle is oldmoneycapital123. We have a LinkedIn company page as well, and it's getting popular these days. So please go visit Old Money Capital on LinkedIn as well. Again, thank you very much.